What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Kids Staycation. Excuse me. I just woke up, so my voice is a little rattly, raspy, whatever. Just haven't taken my allergy medicine yet. But today, we are going to be making cake pops. I am actually making them for my first day of classes, which is this Wednesday, the day that it posts. I will be back in school. Which is really exciting. I'm just making them for all my teachers, for the staff, just kind of as a welcome back, here's to a new year. So here's everything that you're gonna need right there. If you didn't get it, you can go back, pause it, get what you need, write it down somewhere, and let's get started. So this is the mix I decided to use. There's nothing special about it. I just wanted a good vanilla cake, and I know this one's good because I've made it before. I ended up doing the whole egg recipe and following all the directions on the back, just as it says. Baked them up until they're nice and firm in the middle and not too crispy around the edges because we don't want that hard bit right there. But we'll just cut that off when we go to mix them up. But I did 4 batches. We've got coconut, lemon, vanilla, and then some funfetti, or it will be funfetti once I add the sprinkles. This is the frosting I'm gonna use. You guys don't need super fancy frosting or cake because you can't really tell the difference when it's all mashed up and mixed together. So in here I've got my vanilla cake that I'm just gonna make a funfetti out of. We're going to turn it on low. This would work with a handheld mixer as well, but it's a little bit easier with a stand mixer, just because then you don't have to, worry about it splattering everywhere. It's just a little bit easier in a stand mixer, but a hand mixer would also work. So we're just gonna keep going until it is like all just a bunch of crumbs, until it's all like that consistency. We don't want any of those big chunks left. Now you can tell that it's slowly starting to form like a cookie dough consistency as it mixes, like the longer it mixes, and it's kind of gathering up, which is great because that's what we want. So I'm going to take about 1.5 tablespoons, 2 tablespoons. This part, you want a little bit of frosting, probably as much as your first 2 fingers. Probably want about that much. But you want to start off small because you can always add more, but you can't take some away. So we're just gonna put that in there, make sure it gets down on the cake, and slowly mix it. We're looking for it to become more of like a cookie dough consistency. I'll show you what that looks like. And you may have to scrape it down because it likes to stick to everything. Now you can see we're almost there, but we're gonna add about 1 more tablespoon of frosting to the dough. With this, you want to be able to make a ball. Let me make a ball real quick. Hold on now. You want to be able to make a ball where it's all smooth, and when you squish it, you don't want it to crack like it just cracked. So I'm gonna put about 1 more teaspoon of frosting in there, just until it doesn't crack when I do that. It's gonna be like a really soft sort of Play-Doh texture, but you also don't want it too soft. When it's too soft, it's not gonna hold like a shape. You'll know when it's too soft. If that happens, you just have to add more cake, I guess. I'm just gonna add about that much more, and then we should be good. Okay, see, and now it looks a lot more like Play-Doh or like a really nice sugar cookie dough. We'll make another ball with it. Just roll in it, roll, roll, roll. Now that's a nice ball. You don't want to start out with any cracks because that just kind of messes up everything. So now that's a flat surface. We're just gonna press it and see how I'm able to press it and there's no like big cracks. There's a little tiny one, but like that's okay. You just don't want any really big cracks. So that should be good. In this one, I am gonna add some sprinkles to make it funfetti. You wanna add the sprinkles after it's all done mixing so that they don't like mix in and make the whole thing kind of brown because they'll all lose their color if it's over mixed. We're gonna add some more. We'll use them all. Now that they're all like gathered on there, you can see that it's pretty well mixed without it losing their color, but they are kind of starting to lose a little bit of color. Like those streaks right there, that's like a blue one that's kind of lost its color. You can see it more on like that blue one right there. It's like white on the one side. That just means it's losing a little bit of color, but it should be fine. You just don't want to mix it once you see that starting to happen. Once your batter's all mixed up, or I guess your dough is all mixed up, you're going to scoop it and roll it to make that round shape, okay? So I'm just gonna be using this cookie scoop that we have. You could use a tablespoon, you could use anything really. You don't even have to use a scoop. You could just make balls that all look the same size. But I take my scoop right here and I push down, kind of press it, pack it into the scoop here, and then I'm gonna take my thumb and just kind of scrape the excess off the top, get rid of all of the excess so it's pretty much level across the top. You can see there's a little bit of extra, but that's okay. I do that on all of them so they're all the same size. Once you have that, I squish it out or take it out, then you're gonna squish it down. You wanna squish it down probably 2 or 3 times and then roll it into a ball. You want to squish it down to make sure you get all the cracks out so that they're all, you know, nice and smooth, just like we talked about earlier. If there's any big cracks, you can always kind of press it together, just flatten it down, roll it so it's really nice and flat, or round and smooth. There's no flat spots. And there you go. So I'm gonna do that to all of them, and then we'll put the sticks in, we'll dip them, decorate them. After you have them all rolled out like that, we're gonna take our little lollipop stick sort of thing. We're just gonna lightly dip it in the melted chocolate, just a pea-sized amount, and then you're gonna go straight down. Oh, it's hard to do with one hand. Straight down all the way through. If I were to pick it up, you'd kind of see it starting to come through the bottom. You should have just that little tiny ring right there. And you want to make sure that they're straight up and down. So I'm going to do this to all of them. And once that dries, we're going to dip it fully in chocolate. Once the chocolate is dry, you can touch it, you know, you don't get anything on your hand. You're going to take it by the stick and dip it all the way down in the melted chocolate. And you can kind of shake it a little bit until it just barely covers the entire thing. And you take it out and let it kind of drip off. I like to kind of do a gentle little shake to let some of it kind of drain off a little bit so it's a thinner shell. If you don't let it shake off, then it's going to be kind of thick, hard to bite through, but it'll still be good because it's chocolate and chocolate's good. And then once you know that it's kind of all drained off, you're just gonna lightly wipe the bottom across the bowl here. And you can kind of see a little bit of the cake showing through, but that's good. That's what you want it to look like. So usually I would set these in a piece of styrofoam so I can do a bunch of them at once, but you can always hold one in one hand while you do another one in the other hand. We're just gonna wait for that to kind of dry just a little bit on the bottom before we set it down, just so you don't get the big pool of chocolate underneath. Although you can always just set it down right now. It's up to you. So once they're all dry, you can touch them. You don't have anything coming off. They're completely dry. I just like to take the extra chocolate in my bag and just do a nice little drizzle over the top. Once you got that drizzle done, you're just gonna take some sprinkles, get just a little bit of sprinkle on there, and then that's what it's gonna look like. These are the finished product. I just put them in little paper cups, put them in bags, and then tied them off with twist ties, and I put little tags on each of them, as you can see there, and they all have like a color matching their flavor. That was the vanilla with the blue squiggle on there, and the last one is coconut. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. See you next week.